Hello, everybody. Hello, Donna.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Good.
Just good, good. Yeah, no, it's been a good week so far, and I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be kicking back. This is kind of I'm getting close to the end of being so busy because this last few weeks has been just nuts. Not as nutty as your schedule, but still busy for me. And I'm like, after I guess the first week of April, things will settle right down and I'll be back to my normal schedule. So I'm like, I'm almost there. So yeah, it seems like go, 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 go. And I'm not even working. That's the thing, right? I could see if I was working, of course. Like you're working, so of course you're just go, go, go. But like I'm not even working and I'm just like go, go, go. So I'm looking forward to kind of things smoothing out a bit. So so I'm glad to be kicking back here tonight, that's for sure.
Me too. I have 8 weeks
Yeah.
left of school, and then I'm done for the summer.
Oh, 2 months.
Not that I'm counting
Right
it
on.
down or anything.
No, of course not. No, no, that's the thing. You love those kids. The thing
I
is, and
do.
you love your job, but
I
it's
do.
it's not about that. But it's more the break is really important. You do need a break. Like we were saying on that one show, for anybody who didn't catch it on a couple shows back, we were saying of course it's great to you love what you do, you're committed to it, and you love your job, whatever. But when you get that vacation time, you're like, oh, good.
Yep.
Rest time. Yeah,
That's
because you need
great.
it to recharge. You need it to recharge. Yeah. Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
plenty of things planned for
So
summer.
I can imagine you're going to be very happy when it comes. Yeah. And that's good. You know, take a break and rest and relaxation and fun and
Fun.
that's it. I'm looking forward to summer this year. Yeah. There's a few things going on. Um, and you know, it'll be just nice, not having to put on the coat and the scarf and the mitts and the gloves and
Yep.
scraping all the snow off. Now I don't have to do any snow scraping, but I know that you do. So I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry, but I remember them days where I had to do it, and it's like, yeah, that's a lot of work. So
We need to do it
it's good.
today.
I always look forward to summer because it's like, oh, off comes the jackets, off comes the toques, the gloves, everything else, and you're just like, oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. We've had beautiful
Yesterday,
weather up here in Calgary.
yesterday I wore a sweatshirt to work. Today it snowed. I wore my heavy jacket again.
Oh yeah, yeah. You guys, man, you've been had way more winter than we ever did this year. Yeah,
I
because
think
we've
it was
had
our onion
weeks and
snow.
weeks of sunshine, and then one day we had a couple of little onion snow.
Onion snow. It's the last snow of the year.
Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called in Pennsylvania. Everybody calls it onion
Oh,
snow.
so that's what they call it. Oh, I didn't even know. Oh,
It's a
that's cool.
Pennsylvania thing.
Is it maybe because of spring onions with the last? Ah, I
It's
wondered if it's
usually,
because the crops, the early.
I think it's because spring. We hit spring, and then we get the last snow of the year, and they call it the onion spring. Because then most people will get ready and start rototilling their gardens and getting ready, and then of course you don't plant until Memorial Day weekend, or all your stuff will die.
Yeah,
But everybody starts prepping for it. So I think that's why it's the
that's
whole
it.
onion snow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love this time of year. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I love this time of year.
Me too.
Like I'm kind of watching the trees because there's little buds starting to come on the trees now, and I'm watching because I want to catch that first bloom, like when the little leaf starts sticking out. Because usually I ignore it, but this year I'm going to pay attention, and I'm gonna try to get out and take some nice photographs this year because I'm going to be doing a lot of walking. I'm really gung ho. I got my smartwatch.
That's
I got
awesome.
my smartwatch.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm going to be tracking my mileage. It is. It's very cool. Yeah. So I'm going to put my smartwatch on and I'm going to go track my steps, my calories burned, my, mileage, how many, kilometers I've walked, and see the progression. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
take my camera, make sure I get lots of pictures, and just enjoy it.
Yep.
It's nice because usually I'd be working like, I mean, like you, I spent years just work and work and work, and I miss so much.
You do.
And then now this is like, really, this is the first year where this stuff. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's nice. I love taking pictures. I photograph
Yeah.
everything. We go to car shows, we go on vacation, we go to the beach, the river, the lake, wherever we go, I'm always taking pictures. I've
Yeah.
taken some really cool pictures. Then I've taken some not so cool pictures, but I love it. I do. Photography is like the thing. I had a friend, Stephen Miller. He had passed away a couple years ago, but I took his photography class and he kind of showed me different little like techniques and things like that. And I love photography now because it's so much easier to get the shot you want, not the shot you wish you got.
Yeah. Amazing photos. You're a great photographer, actually.
Thank you.
And, I've seen a lot of your pictures that are in your picture books, like the Kinzu Bridge and
Hmm.
the book that you have there with the Kinzu Bridge. Um, those are beautiful, beautiful photos. And, you know, I've seen lots of like, especially like the Heiner, what is it, Heiner Park?
Heiner
Heiner,
View.
is it
Yeah.
called Heiner State Park or something?
Yep. Heiner State Park, Heiner View.
Yeah. 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 The Heiner View. So I've seen
Hmm.
photos of that. So yeah, you're a really good photographer because those are beautiful, beautiful pictures. Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm going to try to get some inner city pictures, like
Nice.
cool stuff downtown here. I should be, uploading on Instagram and stuff like that,
Hmm.
places like that. Yeah.
I took a
So
lot of
it'll
pictures
be
when we
fun.
went.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I took a lot of pictures when we went to LA, and like there's so many like different scenes like you see in the movies, and I'm like, hey, I want to get every one of those pictures. So I went and I got quite a bit of pictures. They actually come out really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love photography.
Yeah. Yeah. You took some cool pictures out there. That's for sure. Yeah. We all got a whole bunch of pictures. We were like sharing our pictures
Hmm.
with each other. Like, okay, here's mine, and you shared yours with me. There's a bunch that, I would snap something, but maybe I didn't have one picture of this or that, and you had it. It was so cool. Yeah, it was really nice to do that.
Well, one of
Because
us
we got a
missed,
whole
the
bunch of
other
really
got.
nice. Yeah,
What one of
got
us
pictures
missed,
of
the other person got.
horses and.
We're having a connection problem
Mm-hmm.
again.
Yeah,
Your
absolutely.
your your
It was
wet
so
your
cool.
sentences are
Yeah, it was
delayed.
really good. Because yeah, yeah, we are totally having a bad connection tonight. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
I feel
And
like I'm talking over
it's
top of you.
most likely my internet. I wouldn't doubt. Yeah, no, you're not. But I feel like sometimes it goes out and it's like a half an hour for you to say something. So I'm just
Hmm.
waiting, but it all catches up. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, sorry for anybody who's watching this. We are having a little bit of a horrible internet here tonight. I'm not sure. It's probably mine. I wouldn't doubt. Because our internet up here is dicey. It's
Ours was last.
iffy. We do not have good internet in Canada. Yeah, if you have storms going through, yours can be pretty crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you get those storms going through the mountains. But for us, I'm right downtown in the middle of all these skyscrapers, and the signal is sometimes just not. It's just not there. And we
You would think
have
you would have better service.
uh,
Living where you
no, we got
do,
terrible, terrible service.
I know, but you would think in the
Yeah,
city you would have the best
it's
service.
yeah, no, it's really bad. All of Canada is bad. Like we just don't get good service. We don't have good internet providers up here that really, you know, they're supposed to be this audible supposed to be really great internet, and this is the best they can do. It's really super slow on the uploads and the downloads, and it's optic fiber cable. So it's just we don't have a market to be able to compete with the world on the internet stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough people in here in Canada. The whole population of Canada is not enough to get top quality stuff like that. Whereas places like China and Japan, they have top internet. Their internet speeds are like, ooh, you know, and ours is like a turtle. It just crawls along, you know. It's yeah, it is. It's just the way it is. It's not like, I mean, there's a lot of wealthy people in Canada, but there's also a lot of middle class and poorer people in Canada, and its population is so small. You know what I mean? So, you know, we do the best we can up here.
That's all you can do.
It's rough. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
No, if I had a newer computer, that would help. Yeah, I'll be like I was saying, I'm gonna be getting a new computer.
That's cool.
Yeah, in October. Yeah, so I have to wait because like right now I just can't afford to do it. But in October, my service for this computer, for this HP that I have, this laptop, because everything I do is on laptop, is they're not going to service this one anymore because it's old. This computer is really old. And I just baby it. I baby it along. I really do. Everything's on a hard drive, a separate hard drive, because I keep everything on that so that it's not clogging up my computer. Yeah. And my computer is still slow. So
that's what I do.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I need a new computer.
I do the same thing. So everything's on a little USB drive. Mm-hmm. Everything's on a little USB drive. And then I keep them locked up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have my desktop, but I hardly got mine on one of them little. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. See, I'm debating on whether I want a desktop this time or a laptop. But I like my laptops. You know, I don't like it. I've always liked my laptops, even though the desktop's better because the sound is better. Like there's so many things about it that's better. But it's just kind of like, it's more expensive. That's why I'm broke, so I have to go with what's the best deal. You know what I mean? So I'm probably no, of course, you know, like a couple years ago, Roger got me the desktop.
Buy whatever I want.
Yeah, a couple years ago, Roger got me the desktop, and then him and I both got new Chromebooks, and I like the Chromebook because I can take it everywhere I go. But the desktop, like if I'm working on a project or a book or something, I prefer that because the screen's bigger and I can see it.
Right. Yeah, because my laptop screen is pretty decent size. You know, it's not the smallest little thing. I used to have one that was just tiny. It was like a purse-sized little laptop. You could throw it in your purse, but I could hardly see the screen because it was only about that big. I was like, it's a miniature, a little mini laptop. The thing was so cool, though. It was beautiful, and it was a designer laptop. Mm-hmm. It was absolutely beautiful, but it was only that big, and it could go in your purse. And I used to just throw it in my bag and go. But no, I need this one is a lot bigger screen, but so it's decent sized screen. I can't remember how many inches it is, but something similar to this would be okay. It's just that I just need a better computer, definitely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I have to wait till October. Yeah. So anybody watching this, just keep that in mind. The shows are going to be a little bit not as choppy, hopefully, in October, because I'm going to have a new computer.
Get a new computer.
We only have a few months to go, so it's okay. It'll hold out.
Don't worry, the fall will be here.
You can do it. I talked to my little. Yeah, it will. Summer's going to come and really quick. Like that's the thing. This next couple months is going to fly by. Mm-hmm. And summer just comes and goes so fast. Yep. That's why you have to enjoy. Yeah, you got to enjoy like every moment of summer. I do. I always soak up summer. I do. Because it's so short up here. Like, yeah, it's short for you too because you're so far north. Exactly. So it's so short for us. Like we just have to soak it up. You know, try to just maximize on the summertime. That because the fall comes fast, and then it doesn't really we don't really get a fall. We just get like a late summer, and then boom, it's winter, and we're like, oh, boo! It's real letdown. It's like we get maybe a week of fall, where we think, oh, it's fall, it's nice, and boom, before you know it, we got snow covering everything, and we're like, I don't even have my snow stuff out yet, like my boots and my jacket and all this, and I'm like, this.
Yeah, it comes quick. I hate the cold. I don't like the cold or the snow.
It does.
So
Yeah,
what'd you do
it's
today?
really wears on you, especially if you have to shovel snow a lot. Oh, I attended a couple of webinars online,
Nice,
and that took up my morning really. Yeah, it was just like
nice.
it was one after the other, and my Zoom was messed up, so I had a hard time kind of attending these webinars, but I made it. And then what else did I do? I sort of just kicked back. Oh, I made a stir fry.
Oh, cool.
I made a stir fry because I had a bunch of veggies like produce that I didn't want to lose, and I knew I had an eggplant, some broccoli, and onions and things, and I thought I'm going to lose it. This broccoli's going to go, my eggplant's going to go, and if once it starts getting old and gets crappy, I'm not eating it. So I thought, okay, instead of throwing it out, I got to see what I can make with this. So I went online. I found a great recipe for eggplant broccoli stir fry with
Oh,
bok
wow.
choy. And I had bok choy, all these nice bok choy, baby bok choy. So I thought I don't want to lose this because they were, they looked like they were starting to kind of start to go, like they was turning yellow on the leaves. I thought, oh, I just got to eat this before it goes bad. So I made a beautiful stir fry, and like an Oriental Asian stir fry, and it was delicious. Yeah, but the recipe was really great. Yeah. So I'll include it actually since we're talking about this, just in case somebody's listening. I have the link to it to where I got this recipe from, and I'll include it in the thing. I've got a picture. I took a picture of it. I usually do take a picture of the stuff I make because I used to be a professional cook, sous chef. So I made this with rice and sitting on rice, and it was. I added chicken to it, grilled chicken, and it was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous.
It looks fabulous.
So I had that for lunch, just a small bowl, and then now I saved the rest for. That was, I mean, it was all green. Like they didn't suggest you add carrots or anything. Thing is like I didn't want to add anything else to it because my pan, my saute, my whatever, my stir fry pan, my big skillet was full. It was already full. So I'm like, I can't put anything else in there. So I thought, no biggie. It's just all green, whatever. It's tasty. And then what I'm going to do with all these other veggies tomorrow is I'm roasting them. I'm going to roast cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, carrots, potatoes, onions, and bell peppers, so that I don't lose them. I'm going to take them, do them in the oven, and I'm going to roast them, and they're going to be nice and caramelized and roasted. And so that's what I'm doing with those tomorrow. So, yeah, because I hate throwing food out, and it bothers me. Well, yeah. So I thought, I got to use this stuff before it goes bad. So I'm just trying to eat healthier. Even though there is some oil on and stuff like that on roasting veg, but they're not going to be sitting in a big pile of oil. Because I'm gonna do it right. I'm not going to goop them in a big pile of oil. So they're going to be lovely. Yeah, I got fresh garlic. I'm going to add to it, and it's going to be lovely. So I'm going to make those tomorrow, and then just freeze whatever's left. Like I'll just freeze portion sizes. Good. So yeah, that's because I'm cooking for one, and it's
your meals always look so good. When you send me those pictures, I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, well, thank you, Boo. I appreciate that. Well, I love cooking, and I wanted to be at 25. I went to cooking school, and because I was just doing office work, and I until that point I just didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. I was just really working at this office for 9 years, and I thought, I guess this is, it's got to be something else. But and I realized I really like cooking. I like food, and I like to eat, but I like to cook as well. I thought
Mm-hmm.
I should go to cooking school. So I went to cooking school for a couple of years. It was really nice, and in New Mexico. And then I started cooking around different places. So I had to start like I was already 25. I was 27 when I graduated. So I had to start at the bottom as a 27-year-old, which wasn't very much fun because most of the people that start at the bottom are usually young teenagers. But I didn't
Mm-hmm.
care. I didn't care because I'm like, look, I don't care. I mean, I'll scrub pots. I really don't care. I want to work in the kitchens, right? So I was never really I was never really a dishwasher. So lots of the restaurants I did cook in, and you end up doing the dishes anyway. But I just did all sorts of things. I cooked at mom and pop places. I cooked at the Marriott. I did garnish at a Mexican restaurant called Garduño's in
Oh,
Albuquerque.
wow.
And that was one of my first jobs. Yeah, and it was a garnish job. All I was doing was garnishing plates. It was insane. The amount of food that was pumped out of that kitchen was absolutely insane. Because all night long, I would sit there and just throw lettuce and tomatoes and things on these dishes that were supposed to be there. Scoops of sour cream. I was finishing off the plate basically with garnishing it and with all the last stuff. You know what I mean? And then
Mm-hmm.
sending it on, and somebody else would clean the plate. I kind of cleaned it up, and then somebody else at the end would clean it up another time, make it beautiful, and then it gets shipped out to the people. So that's one of my first jobs. But
That's
I did all kinds of stuff. I cooked all over the place. Yeah, it was cool. I cooked in pubs here in Alberta. I cooked at several different places, and I just love to cook. Yeah. So I still
that's
like to cook for myself, and even though it's just me now, and Cecil, Cecil was the chef. He was the chef in the family. I
mm-hmm.
just was the wannabe chef, but he was a real chef. Yeah. So
That's cool.
so I was
I know what you
cooking a
mean
lot better
about
than
going to
mine.
school late.
But he when he got to the point where he was so sick he couldn't cook anymore.
Yeah. I know what you mean about going to school when you're
Yeah.
older. Because when I went to nursing school, I was 30. And
Hmm.
everyone in there, they were 17, 18 years old. There
Yeah.
I am, 30 years old, and they would be like, oh, we're going to go have a party, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I'm like, I'm going to go home. I got 2 kids and a husband. But but I loved it. I loved nursing. I loved everything about it.
That's it. I got I got kids waiting for me. There ain't no party going on tonight.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
it's never too late to start doing
No,
something
no.
that you want to try, that you want to do.
Yeah. No, you're never too old, and
I think we're
there's
frozen here.
there's a lot to
Come on,
learn.
little internet.
Yeah, we're having a connection problem.
Oh yeah, it's terrible tonight.
It is. I feel like I'm
So
talking on top of you.
you're back, but that was yeah. I almost lost you. No,
Okay.
no, you're not.
Yeah.
It's
It,
just
it's
it
like
seems like it, but you're not. Yeah, it
okay.
just jumbles it. Because I can tell you're not talking over me. No, I think sometimes I'm talking. I interrupt you. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, no, it's never too late to start to try something that you want to do. You know.
hmm We're probably both really eager to talk because I don't think we talk to too many
It's
other
just
adults
fun.
throughout the day.
Hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you have children, like, and you're home with the children all day, and you don't get to have any adult conversations, and your
Yep.
husband's working. I think that I've never experienced that, but I've heard talk to people who have,
Yeah.
and they said, it's so nice to talk to another adult.
It
You
is.
know, and I'd be like, oh, that's good.
Well, that's it. Hey,
Yeah,
we have 20 kids, and I don't
it
think
would
I
be
said 10
hard,
words to
after you'd
Barbara
get used
Marine
to
the
it, I
whole
guess.
day.
But yeah, we've got terrible internet.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. I'm just
Yeah, you're
checking.
freezing.
I'm just moving my box just to see if it's weird.
That
Yeah, I don't
seems
like it.
better.
But anyway, there's not much we can do about it.
That's right.
Hmm?
I said that seems better since you moved it. You're not freezing.
Yeah, it's just for a minute though, and then it goes out. So I seriously think it's an internet problem. I don't think it's my computer. Um, I don't even think it's my modem or anything like that. I just think it's
No.
the internet. I really do. I know we have serious problems up here with it. You know, I had a message from my internet provider probably 2 weeks ago, and they said we're going to be doing service um, in the downtown core of Calgary uh, for 48 hours or something like that. They said expect issues, you know, possible um, disconnections from things, you know. So they said just be aware, you know. But that was like 2 weeks ago. It didn't seem to help anything out. You know what I mean? It actually, I think they made it worse because it used to be my internet connection used to be a little bit better than this. So
Do you work off Wi-Fi or are you hardwired?
they made it.
Do you have the Ethernet cord or do you have just the Wi-Fi signal?
That's awful. So yeah, if anybody's watching, sorry about that. We're kind of coming in and out. Yeah, so it's pretty slowed down, but that's okay. We don't. You know, I'm happy to be here, and I love doing these shows with you, Donna. And it's, you know, it's fine. Eventually, like some nights we have great connection, nothing. There's no problems at all, and other nights we have horrible connections, like the one show with Saeed, and we lost everybody at the end of the show. Well, we had to end it because it wasn't.
I felt so bad.
Show. We had to end the show because everybody was gone. I did too, and I was like, "That's terrible," because he was right, just sharing his story, and that was disappointing. So he is coming back on with us eventually.
Nice.
And I was speaking to him, and he said that he'd like to come back, and I said, "Well, probably it would be maybe after the second week of April,
Okay.
because things should be a little bit slowed down by then."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the next show, the show after next, so not this next week coming up, but the one after that, we have a special surprise for everybody, which we're not saying anything about just yet because we're not talking about it just yet, but we have a big surprise coming for April the 9th, Wednesday the 9th. So we'll be giving details about that coming up here. So be sure and follow us, listen, catch us wherever. We want you to be here because it's going to be a very special show. So on Wednesday, April 9th. So not next Wednesday, but the following one. But after that, I think we'll be able to have Zaid back on. And yeah, it'll be good. And then hopefully we'll be able to do a show with his friends, but that might have to be a Saturday show. So we're going to have to arrange to try to do that one on a Saturday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to make sure it works for you, Donna, because I'm pretty open on Saturdays, but sometimes you're not. It just depends on what's going on. So yeah. I told him we'll have to wait on that one for a bit, you know, because he wants to have all of his friends on from his Hamailene channel, which is really great. So yeah, awesome. So hopefully, you know, April is looking good. We should be having special shows, special guests, and yeah, it's fun. I really enjoy this. It's really a blast.
It is because you can just sit and talk. I can remember shows we did in the past, we would always like know what we're going to talk about in advance. And then we'd have like little crib notes, you know, and well, make sure you say this and make sure you say that. And on this one, I just kind of feel like really relaxed. Like it doesn't matter what I say, what I do. It's just you and me. We're having fun. We have some people listening. And I'm going to give a shout out to Barb because I know Barb, she's my volunteer. She's watching tonight. She asked me before we left work today that if we were having a show. So, hey, Barb. Very nice.
Barb, hello, Barb.
So,
that's awesome.
And I think Maureen's watching. So, hey, Maureen.
Oh, Maureen. Hi, Maureen. Hello.
Yeah, you know Maureen good.
I hope you and John are doing. I do know Maureen. I did an interview with her. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. She's working on some new material. I'm proud of her.
And yeah, she's my friend. She's one of the volunteers, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Hi, Barb. That was my mom's name, Barb. Yeah. Barbara. But everybody called her Barb. So my mom
think her name's
didn't
Barbara
want to be called Barbara. She liked to be called Barb.
I think her name's Barbara too, because sometimes I'll call her Barbara just to get a rise out of her. Because we're always agitating each other.
Okay, Barbara.
So.
Well, that can be fun, especially if it's wrong with that. It's not really being rude. I think it's especially if they know you're totally joking.
She knows I'm joking. Mm-hmm. That's like Maureen. I call her Reenie. Well, I never call her Maureen. I do on here, but when we're together, I always call her Maureen.
Yeah, Reenie. Yeah. Yeah, Maureen.
But she's working on new material. Cool. I'm proud of her. She's got some new projects in the works. Cool. Yeah.
Right on. That's good. Good deal. Good for her. Yeah. Well, she's done some great stuff.
She has.
Maureen.
Yes.
I think it's what her. Yeah. Like, I think she does try to be part of positive change. I really do. She's a voice out there, and she'll speak out if she feels like really, like if something just touches her and it just, she just feels like I have to be a voice for that. She's like a go-getter. You know, she'll go to the top. She don't care. Yeah. So I do appreciate her for that.
Yeah. I respect the fact that she gets facts and she does her homework.
Not everybody's like that,
Yeah. I like that she gets facts. She does her homework. There's none of this I think or I heard or someone said or they said. Mm-hmm. She really gets the facts and then she'll go from there. And she's just, like I said, she only works on facts. And that's one thing I like because, the one project that I'm working on right now, I have to go by facts. And I have people telling me like little scoops of this and little scoops of that. And I'm like, unless it's facts, I don't want to hear they said, she said, he said, they said, because I'm only dealing with facts, And that's one thing I really respect about her because she'll get the facts and then she'll write it appropriately and she'll stand up for what she believes in. And I don't know. I respect that.
Yeah, I do too, because it's hard. There's not very many people that are willing to do that, and we've run into to a few because of what we do. But it's kind of nice to see people do this because it's really important in our world, to stand up and be a voice. Because if we don't, then we're just become puppets of whatever system. You know what I mean? Like we do have to speak out against what's wrong and. If when you and I are Christians, like if we believe like if God puts something on your heart, then you need to speak about it. If He puts that on your heart really strong, and you feel like you're being led by the Lord to voice and speak out against whatever's wrong, I think it's really important. Yeah, it really is.
Well,
you think about. Good things that happen in this world. Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I was going to say she took a stand against the power plant when they went to put the power plant across the street from her house. And they were selling the dream that this power plant was going to save our community. And she dove in. She did her homework. And I'll tell you right now, she is the sole reason why it did not come here. She found out facts as to what they were lying about, and it wasn't going to benefit the community at all, even though a lot of people don't want to admit that even to this day. The facts are there, and she put the facts in 3 different books that she did, And I mean, the paperwork's there, the
Yeah.
documents there. It's not like she's lying. She's telling you 100%. And I know
No.
different people, they'll get mad or they'll make comments. And I'm like, well, you know what? She was a grandmother that took down $1 billion power plant corporation. So I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her for standing up for what she believes in. I'm proud of her because they lied on the original plan and documents, and there was just a lot of crappy stuff, shitty stuff. I'll just say it the way it is. There was a lot of shitty stuff going on behind the scenes, and she called him on it. And
Yeah.
like I said, I don't blame her. There's several power plants in Pennsylvania, and we have visited them. They're so loud and they're so dirty. And, you know, maybe if they would have stuck to the original plan and they didn't want to make it so big, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. But they just kept screwing around the whole day, and the whole time, and they kept changing things. And it's like, you can't do that. You have to have one plan and stick to it. But hey, she stuck to her guns, and she wrote 3 really good books. The first one was Smoke and Mirrors. And then she did the Lost DEP report. And that was like about the chemicals that polluted the land, basically. And then she had the last one. It was, it basically told the story of how the power plant didn't come. And then she did a trilogy where it had all 3 stories in one. And it's an incredible book. I mean, it really is. All of them. They're great. And like I said, she did her homework. And I know
she did her homework.
Yep. Just the other day, someone had said something really rude to her. And I'm like, don't take it personal. I said, you can't take it personal. We get people that hate us because we stand up for kids. Before I come on here tonight, I had a post because of a girl in Toledo. She was missing, and we kept sharing it, trying to bring her home. And we found out that her father was actually the one being charged with her death because they found her in an abandoned house. And I put up there, you know, we preach about call-in children and youth, or CYS, or whatever you choose to call it in your area. And the school bus drivers did, her peers and different people did, and nothing was done. And then she ended up, she was actually kidnapped and raped and killed. And everybody's on there, well, this doesn't happen, and this, and this, that. And I'm like, would you people cut it out? Like, this happens every freaking day. Get over it. You people don't want to hear the truth. And that's what's wrong with you. That's what's wrong with society. Nobody wants to hear the truth. We want to buttercup it and fluff it so that everybody's happy. And I respect the fact of people that tell it the way it is. And I respect the fact that she was honest. You know, not everybody's honest. And I like honesty, you know. Marina's a very strong person. She's a very bold person. She don't have no bones about telling you what she's thinking or how she feels. A lot of times I'm like, you got to, you know, you get more flies with sugar, you know, than you do salt. Sometimes you have to be nice to get what you want, and then you can say your opinion. You know, but I
kind of sweeten it up just a little bit.
Deal. Then when you get what you want, you can slide
People
right
don't
on.
Want to run you out of town.
But no, she, like I said, she did, and
I think that is so funny. Yeah, I do. I do too. Oh, totally.
You got to sweeten the deal.
Yeah. Put a little bit of sugar on it. It'll be a little more tolerable. But that's the thing. It's like, no, I mean, the world really is in denial.
Big time. They don't like truth.
Yeah. It's so much easier, right? If just close your eyes. Just like those 3 monkeys, you know, can't see, can't hear, can't speak, silenced.
Yeah.
And that's what the world really mostly is, because it's just so much easier to not have to see, to not have to pay attention to them, you know. And there's always some people who are, I don't know if it's I almost want to say, I don't think it's a willingness. I think it's your calling. It's what you were called to do. It's like you're born to do this. You either care and are willing to look at this horrible stuff, or you don't. I know in my own family, just with my siblings, I was the baby, but I was always concerned with people that were suffering and struggling. It always
Mm-hmm.
bothered me. If I saw something on TV like the movie The Titanic, you remember that old version of the Titanic from like
Yeah.
the 1960s
Mm-hmm.
with that one famous lady? I can't remember her name, but I mean, she was real famous, and all these famous actors. And I mean, I was only probably about 6 years old or 5 years old when I was watching this movie. And as the ship was sinking, I was crying and I was upset because I was realizing that people were dying on this. I knew it was a television show, but the thing, it still bothered me. And then my mom was like, I was talking to my mom about it, and I said, those people are dying. And my mom was like, well, dear, um, it's just a story and it is sad. Like she was trying to be good about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it affected me. I was sad for those people, that was a long time ago. When did that thing go down? Like Titanic 1890.
I don't even know.
I don't know, 19 something. I don't know. Anyway, it was a
I
long
don't.
time ago when the Titanic went down. And so, it's not recent. We're talking a ways back, right? So I I still feel bad for those people. It doesn't matter that it was 100 years ago. It's like I do care about people. I cared about people 1,000. If I hear a bad story from somebody who lived 2,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago, something happened to them, I do care
I
because
do too.
I can't be the kind of person that can. I don't have a heart that's. I don't have a divided heart. My heart is
No.
one, and it's like I if I decide that I don't care about those things, then then I can't like close off part of my heart and just say, oh, I only half care about some things, don't care about other things. Because for
Yeah.
me, my heart doesn't work that way. I really do absolutely care about people. I care about people all around the planet right now who are suffering and struggling. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing I can do but pray for them, and
That's the best thing.
but they're in my thoughts and prayers. Yeah. And I mean, I don't care who they are. People would say, well, maybe you only care about your own kind. I don't think so. I'm praying for all of the people around the whole planet that are suffering. I don't care what color, nationality, ethnicity, religion, don't matter. I don't care because I do care about people. Because I can't
Yeah.
be one of these people that can only care about certain things and not care about other things.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, for most people, I think that's too overwhelming and they just can't deal with it. And
Yeah.
I think that they have to turn it off because they can't allow themselves to feel those things. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why the world is so much in denial. It's kind of like they see a story about a child being killed and murdered. Most people that could even happen to a child, that could even happen to a child.
Yeah.
Bad enough that we, I don't even want to say natural diseases, whatever, cancer, horrible things, childhood diseases that take them out. Bad enough, and that's really sad. It is.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart. They'll never get to grow up. They'll never get to go to high school. They'll never get to have their first crush. They'll never get to go to prom. They'll never get to do any of those things. They don't get the experience, and that's sad. You know.
It is.
And then but the tragic thing is, there's all these children out and killed because of abuse and horrible stuff going on, and the world just turns a blind eye. They're
Yep.
okay with the childhood cancer. They can totally watch those commercials and everything because they're like, oh, look at those poor kids. But they see something in the news about a child who's been killed, kidnapped, murdered, or whatever. They ignore it.
They do.
They don't want to
And
see it.
that's
They don't want to.
sad. People have
It
blinders
is.
on.
It's really sad. Yeah, they don't want
They
to see
do.
it,
They put
and that's
blinders on.
sad.
They don't
That's
want to see
really
the
sad, and
ugly
that's
on
why they
either
don't want
side.
to hear from us
Yep.
advocates.
Yep.
That's right, because they don't want to believe that whatever, humankind could be that evil to do these things. But it's true. It happens every day. Kids are dying at the hands of monsters. I call them monsters because that's what they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's really sad. Very, very sad.
tonight there was Officer, I think his first name was Brian Steele, and he was from Toledo, Ohio. And he was talking about this case that I had been telling you about earlier today. And the girl was missing, 13 years old, and they had searched for her for days. Well, here she was in an abandoned house that was half burnt down. And they ended up, they said her father was responsible after he gave them wrong information multiple times, and he made up stories. And you know how they do. The minute someone gets on TV and they tell a story and then they tell another story, I could just about tell if they're guilty. Anyway, so
That's it.
they knew that he did wrong. Well, he ran and he went to this other town, and this cop, he got on TV and he's just like, you know, you better think twice before you come to this community. And they got him. He pulled a gun on them, and then officer shot him, and he's in the hospital recovering. But he was right on TV and he said, this person is an animal. He's like, this 13-year-old child was raped. She had her hands cut off and she had her throat cut. He's like, this person is an animal. This is the most horrific thing. And he was going on and on and on. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to share this on Facebook, because there was people and they were saying about how many times that different teachers called children and youth, and how many times that bus drivers called children and youth, and everyone. I'm not saying everyone failed this girl. Everyone within the system failed this girl, because the mandators, reporters, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They mandated, but and they reported. I mean, they did their job. Mandated reported. They reported what they needed to, but they did nothing. They did absolutely nothing.
But the system failed.
Yep, the system failed. And I said tonight, I'm like, you know, I think people need to hold these people accountable. If you had 10 reports that this girl was experiencing abuse at home, and 10 times you found it irrelevant or no findings, there has to be something wrong, because a kid don't go to school and tell teachers and counselors and bus drivers and other friends that they're being abused and horrible things are happening to them at home. Usually a kid will lie. I'm not saying kids don't lie, but when it comes to abuse and violence within a home, a lot of times the kids can't make up the things, especially little kids, of the things that is going on in their lives. So when a child says this person did this or this person did that, you really need to take into consideration that, yes, and we need to investigate this, not just go into home and say, oh, the house looks clean, their beds are made, there was food in the refrigerator, no abuse here, nothing to see. Well, now there's a little girl dead, had her throat cut, her hands cut off, sexually assaulted. Like, come on, people, do something. And I know locally, our county and the next county over, they get the worst reviews because they do nothing. And I always get pissed. I mean, I literally get pissed because I think of Jasmine and Nicole Snyder, and I think of Anson Stover, and I think that people knew what was going on and nobody said nothing. And it pisses me off. Plus, they say or they claim, and I don't usually go by they said or they claim, but people involved tell me that people heard things and people did make reports, but nothing was done. That has to stop. People really have to do their job. If these agencies are going to do their jobs, clean them out, get them out of there, and get someone in. That's what the hell they're doing. Because right now you're not helping children by going in and saying, oh, their bedrooms are clean, there's food in the refrigerator. That is not making sure that a child is safe. When a child says that they're being physically abused or sexually abused, check it out. Don't just go in and say, they got a full fridge, beds are clean, house is made, we're good, we're out of here. No. Years ago, and this is the God's honest truth, I had someone call me and they were being invested by children and youth, and I knew the person pretty good. And she said, would you come up as they go through? And I said, sure. So I went up to her house, and her house was, it was clean. It wasn't my version of clean, but it was clean for the most part. Anyway, so they come in, and this was a child sexual abuse case. They went in, they looked at the refrigerator, they went up in the bedrooms, made sure the bedrooms were clean. she said, everything looks good here. And there was a guy that was with her, and he goes, everything looks good here. I said, aren't you going to talk to the children? Aren't you going to ask them any questions? Oh, no, ma'am. We can't lead them into saying something. Do you guys have anything you want to say to us? Is there anything you want to tell me? And the kids are like looking, like shaking their heads, like, what the hell do you want me to say? And I said, I know you're not supposed to lead children into conversation, but you have to ask the questions. Are you okay? Is everything okay at home? Is there anything you want to share with me? You don't look at a kid and say, the fridge is full, the house is partially clean, your beds are made. Is there anything you want to tell me? You have to get with that child. You have to make that child trust you and be comfortable enough with you to say any little thing. Someone's not just going to jump out and be like, yeah, they abuse me every day. You have to look for the signs.
No, not normally.
No. And
that's
it.
There's fear involved there.
Yeah. And I said, I'm like, if these people,
kids aren't going to say anything. Same thing happened to me.
Yeah. If these people in these positions cannot protect these children, or they can't take it serious and really do good checks to make sure that these children are safe, being fed and things like that, then they need to walk away from their job, and they need to go and they need to hire people that will care and that will take the time. Too many kids are dying, Lori. Kids are dying every day. I mean, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Lee's niece, Lexi, is one of our social media people. She does a lot of our emails and stuff. And she'll say, hey, this just come through. Do you want to give an opinion on it? And we started this thing where I'll say whatever I'm thinking, and then we'll put, it's an opinion, whatever. And I'm putting them on there and I'm saying how I'm feeling. People will literally post on these, and it infuriates me. Well, how do you know that the kid's being abused? Maybe the kid's lying. Maybe the kid said this. Maybe this kid said that. I know them. They're good people. You can't say that about them because they're good people. Well, guess what? Good people abuse and kill children. I'm sorry, but people that you think are good abuse and kill children. Yeah. Kelly Wirt Snyder. That's right. Most people will recognize that name. She was our neighbor for a while, and
that's right. Remembering Kelly, we did the book there.
Yes, she was an incredible mother. She was an incredible person, friend. I mean, she was an incredible. Her father is actually friends with us, and she was incredible. And she didn't deserve to die. She didn't deserve to be choked to death. And there was too many things that led up to it. That other people knew and other people saw, but nobody said nothing, because around here, nobody gets involved in anybody's business, which your business is your business and it's your own. But if you feel like your friend's in danger, man, you got to stand up and you got to say something. You got to try to help that person. And the person that killed her, they're a coward. And I hear different people say, well, he really loved her. Sad. He loved her so much. And I said the one day I was having my hair done, and there was a woman in there. She said something to me about the case. And I said, I really like Kelly. I said, she was a nice person. She was actually working on a book. I said, nobody knew that, but she was. And she goes, well, it's a shame that happened. And I said, no, it's not a shame that it happened. I said, it should have never happened. I said, he had no right to put his hands on her. Right. And this woman looked me in the eye, and I about jumped out of the chair. They were cutting my hair, and I just about jumped out of the chair, like ready to smack this lady. She says, well, he really loved her. I said, yeah. I said, and she's like, you don't know the extent of the things that he did for her. That's really why he killed her. I said, can I ask you one question? She goes, yeah. I said, did he ask her to kill him? Did she ask him to kill her? And she goes, well, that's personal. I said, well, you just said he loved her so much he was going to do anything for her. Did she ask him to kill her? She goes, I'm not even answering your question. I said, well, you're sitting here trying to sell to me that he loved her so much and that was the reason why he killed her. Nobody has the right to put their hands on anybody else. Nobody has the right to kill anybody else. I'm like, no.
Just sick.
I'm like, I'm like, we do not agree. See, this is the reason why we agree to disagree, because you want to agree with stupid and I don't. And this woman has not talked to me since. She sees me and she turns the other way and runs because I don't care. I have an opinion, and I said it on here nicely tonight,
That's
but
right.
that's not how I said it
Right.
in real life. It's just
Mhm.
it's crazy. People don't, but
Toned it
people
down just a little bit.
just a little bit. Well, I try not to be my total self on here and curse like sometimes I
Well,
do.
we're
And
trying to keep it clean. We're trying to keep this clean. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, the thing is like, where do people get? Okay, I don't care. You can say you love somebody all you want, but if you go and kill that person, it's not in the action. Okay,
No.
where does love? Where does it say that love, true love, ends in murder? It doesn't. That's bullshit.
No.
You know what I mean? If he loved her, why would he kill her? No. It seems to me that he hated her very, very much, because you don't strangle and murder somebody that you love. You don't. Not
No.
maybe in
No.
self-defense some people have done stuff like that because they're trying to save their own life. And abusive situation where one party, let's say, we could even flip the script. We could say maybe that man loves his wife so much, or his intimate partner, and the intimate partner, whoever it is, man, woman, whatever, ends up trying to kill this man, and he ends up killing that person in self-defense, but he loved him so much. That can happen, because that does happen. But the thing is usually the person who's trying to kill somebody, it's not real healthy love. That may be distorted love. Like, there is distorted love where a person could be so jealous and they love somebody so much that they would kill them because they don't want anybody else to even have anything to do with them. Or those people are psychologically unwell. That's not real love. I'm sorry. It's not. You can't say that that's true love. Oh, he really loved her. My ass. I'll just say it that way. My ass. You know what I mean? Like, hell to the no. Sorry.
Yeah. Nope.
Somebody goes and strangles some woman that they claim that they love, who's the mother of their children, who they're married to and supposedly love, and kills him, and then disposes of her body, and then mute and whatever he did to her corpse. That's not love.
No.
People.
No.
Sorry, it's not.
No. And there you got, just like I said, I'm like, well, ask her kids. Ask her kids how much he loved her, because now she has 3 children that don't have a mother or a father. So ask them.
Yep.
Ask them
That's
how
right.
they feel today losing their mother. I can guarantee they miss their mother, because, like I said, honest, she was incredible. She was a great mom. She really was. And she was a great friend to people. I mean, when we did Remembering Kelly, there were so many people that loved her so much, had so many great things
They just
to say.
poured their heart into that book.
Yeah. But no, I think of her often.
I'm going to put the link to that book. All the stuff that we're talking about here tonight, I'm going to put it in the description.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But no, I think of her quite often because, like I said, she was a nice person. And at one time they were actually our neighbors, and she was a nice person. Her dad, he's a really nice person. Every day I see him, he tells me a blonde joke before I go to work. So every day before I leave for work, I grab the mail. As I grab the mail, he's usually coming down the street because he still gets his mail at the post office, and I have mine home delivered. And he'll say, I got a blonde joke for you. Every day he tells me a blonde dirty joke. And then I laugh, and I'm like, I'll say to him, oh, Joe, you're so funny. And he is funny. He can tell a story. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to tell Maureen this joke because Maureen's blonde. I'm like, I'm going to tell her this joke. I get to work and I can't remember how to say it, or remember how to say it, but it's not funny when I say it like he says it. I'm like,
oh, no.
He's just one of them people. Like he is. He's one of those people, like he
Yeah.
tells a joke and like he has the facial expressions, like so that he can like he really gets
Yeah.
into it. I know
Yeah. Some
used to
people are
always,
good joke tellers, definitely. I'm
yeah.
not. But
Roger used to always say to
my
me,
brother-in-law was. Yeah.
yeah. Roger always says to me, "You think you're funnier than what you actually are." And I'm like, "No, I'm really funny." And he's like, "No. You think you're funnier than you are." And I'm like, "Whatever." I laugh at my own jokes. That's all that matters.
That's funny. It's like, Raj, oh, come on, man. That's funny.
That's because
I
I
think
will.
you're funny. You make me laugh. We always have a good time laughing.
Yep.
We get each other's humor. That's why.
I think that's why, yeah, we get each
Yeah.
other.
Because that's the thing. Cecil got my humor. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Like Cecil, he totally got my humor. And he used to laugh. He thought it was funny. He's like, you're just a nutball. I'm like, I know I am. And he would laugh. He thought it was just funny. And I was like, he was the only one. I mean, besides you, he's the only one that really got my humor. I used to tell him, I'm so glad you get my humor, so nice. And me and you get each other's humor. So it's nice to have somebody who understands your humor. Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, we always laugh and have a good time. But it's to remember jokes, I no way. I just can't do it. I've tried. Yeah.
No, I'm not good
I'm
at
almost
jokes.
60. I've tried to memorize jokes my whole I just can't do it. But I like to laugh with other people, so if I hear a good joke, I'll laugh,
The best thing
But
that I do
yeah, no,
is
it's
I'm
just
animated
people just
when I
have a
tell a
warped
story.
sense of what's that?
I said when I tell a story, I'm very animated.
What's that?
Like because like if I know somebody's name, I don't usually call them by their name. Like I'll call them like a different name similar to their name. Like if I'm going to talk about, just as an example, somebody named
Mhm.
Chuck, I would call him Chuckles because I'd have to make it funny. And then because I call him Chuckles, everybody laughs because I say Chuckles. And then I go on and I tell my story.
Right.
But like I have like special little names for people. I don't know. I might think I'm
I
funny.
know you're funny. No, you really are funny. Some of the stuff that you say to me, like in private when we're talking, over the years, I'm just shocked because I'm like it's not dirty or filthy or anything. It's just funny. I'm like, come up with this stuff. I really don't know.
Because we can laugh.
It just makes me laugh. Oh, I think that's part of your creative nature. You're just creative, right? So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we always have fun. But you are very creative, and I think that's where that comes from because your brain works like that, Because I'll be like, just something that you'll say to me out of the blue, I wouldn't have thought of in a million years, and it just makes me laugh, and I'm like, where do you get this stuff from? I don't know. It's good though, right? It's really good to be like that. Yeah,
it is.
That's the thing. I mean, we're life is serious, and there is serious stuff going on, but you can still have fun.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be in the dumps, like down in the dumps,
No.
depressed about everything. I mean, it is. I do know how to separate stuff out. You know what I mean? Because I like to have fun too, and I love to just enjoy myself and laugh and have a great time. I'm not one of the, like a stick in the mud who's always just thinking about child abuse or saving the world from monsters. It's the issue that so it's appropriate sometimes to do the thinking on that stuff. And when it's right to use your voice, use it. Go ahead and do it, right? And then there's other times when it's like, hey, this is time for fun now. So I can totally compartmentalize. I don't let this stuff just drag me down.
No.
That may be what others can't. Some people may not be able to turn that off. It's like once they see like the stories that we've covered over the years that we knew about, where a lot of people do know about them, like baby Brianna and stuff. They would see something like that, and it would break their heart. They'd have a miserable day, and they wouldn't be able to maybe even come out of it for a couple of days. It would just bother them. For me, we can just do this sort of stuff and then put it away. You know, it doesn't need to ruin your day. It doesn't need to make you have the horrible night not sleeping. You know what I mean? Because that's not doing anybody any good. You know,
No, I had to learn to do
it's
that.
like those children are gone.
But I had to learn to
Yeah.
cut it
So you
because
don't do that?
I, years ago, it used to bother.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I learned to shut it off, like, at the end of the day, because there's nothing you can do. The child's already deceased or,
no,
has suffered. But for a long time, like, I really did. I, it's like it would be in my head and
mhm,
I'd be like, okay, I can't sleep or I can't eat. And I just continuously thinking about it. And I thought, if I continue going as I am, I'm going to burn myself out. So then I just thought, nope, I'm going to, at the end of the day, I'm just going to like shut it off. And sometimes it's hard to shut off because I'll tell you, when I was working on the registry and I was collecting the statistics and stuff, it was like I was always constantly thinking of it. It was always in my head because I was trying to put the statistics down and what I wanted them to know. And then I'm over here writing what I think should be included in this law. And like, it was just like in my head. But as far as the headlines, no, I had to learn to shut them off because they'll eat you alive. I mean, we've seen so many headlines, thousands, hundreds of thousands of headlines of children being abused and killed and mistreated. And I'll tell you what, when I first heard about baby Brianna, that about killed me. When I first heard about Connor, that did. Then there was baby Alyssa. And then as the cases kept continuing, I was just like, okay, I gotta learn to shut it off because it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all.
mhm. Yeah, no, because you can't change anything by doing that anyway. By allowing it to affect you to the point where you're not sleeping, you're not eating, you can't, you're just down or
Mhm.
whatever. It doesn't help anything anyway because it doesn't change anything. Like because I deal with my own abuse, just got to keep going. But as
Yeah.
an advocate, um, we would go through moments of about some of these stories that we would
Yeah.
hear. That so if you don't get mad, it's kind of like I don't know what's wrong with you because this is really horrific. How somebody could do this to a child? There's nothing you can do to bring them
Yeah.
back. But I got to the point where I was like, it's okay. I can talk about all of this stuff. I can look at it, think about it, and at the end of the day, or at some point during the day, usually, before dinner, I'm going to have dinner with my husband or whatever, I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day.
Yeah.
And, that's a healthy way to do it because it's like, you just can't let it, you
No.
can't let it ruin your life. You just can't, you know what I mean? As advocates, a lot of times people do burn out
You do.
because they do care. I know we're advocates and we care, and I don't think we ever burned out. We didn't burn out at all. But the thing is, it doesn't mean that we don't care. Even if I'm, a couple of years really into retirement, not doing much, I'm always going to be a voice, and I'm always going to care. And doesn't mean that I don't still look at those child abuse posts if I see them. I don't just pass them by. I pray for I really do pray. I pray for the children out there now that are being abused, that God would get them help and that God would save them and, you know, make a way for them to have a good life. I do pray for them. And it's like, it's really important. It's like, it doesn't mean that I just one day say, oh, that's it, I'm done. I forget about all that. It's like, no, because we do care about children. We wouldn't have spent all these years doing this if we didn't care.
No. No. I read a headline today, and since we're talking headlines, I read this headline, and this guy, he was on vacation with another couple, and he had his phone laying by a plant. Was he went over to pick up his phone, he looked kind of like in the room, there was like an adjoining bathroom, bedroom area,
Mm-hmm.
and he looked in. Well, he picked up his phone and he videotaped a young boy getting undressed. And afterwards, he took the video and he kept watching it and watching it and watching it. And when someone had reported it, and I can't remember exactly who reported it and why, but it was his girlfriend, wife, significant other. Anyway, she had reported it, and she's like, I'm very concerned because he had this video and he just keeps watching it and watching it. So the police go and question him, and he told them that he recorded this because he wanted to see if he was a pedophile or not. He wanted to see if he got excited over it. So he did it so that he could watch it to see if he got excited because he was a pedophile. And I lost it. I'm like, are you nuts? Like, are you nuts? If you have to ask yourself if you're a pedophile, buddy, you're a freaking pedophile. Get over it.
Yeah.
There's no question in anybody. If you have to ask yourself, you are.
Yeah, seriously.
It's
a person knows what and who they are.
Yep.
You know, you don't have to sit there and go, oh, I wonder, you know.
Well,
no, that's just
a little boy getting dressed. Like, that is absolutely disgusting. It
is. And this is the problem with the world today. It's like these people, whoever these people are, these, I call them monsters, just think that kind of behavior is okay, you know, and it's like, no, it's not, you know.
Yeah. But no. But I did. I'm like, if you have to ask yourself if you're a pedophile, dude, what the hell do you think you are? Like, that's disgusting.
Seriously. I think in a lot of countries, you know, there's many countries who they would be in serious trouble. Like, you know, not in North America. Hey, you do something like, no problem, just a little slap on the wrist, no baby. Other countries, especially Middle Eastern countries, there's many Middle Eastern countries where, especially Saudi Arabia, places like that, you get caught doing something like that, they just chop your head off. You know what I mean? They don't ask questions. They don't sit there and go, so you thought you were a pet? Oh, that's too bad. Or you were just trying it out. You were just seeing. No, they would just take them down to the market square in the front where all the people are and chop their head off. You know what I mean? And I seriously think we ought to go back to that. I really do, because there'd be a whole shitload less of these problems going on.
What I don't understand is, why do these people get slaps on the wrist? Like, why is there no real punishment? Or why are these people getting out on $25,000 bail when all they have to do is post 10%? Like, that's crazy. And why aren't they required to wear an ankle monitor? Or why are we giving child killers and child predators, why are we giving them friggin' plea deals? And why are we giving them bail to begin with? Like, keep their asses in jail. They committed a crime against a child, and you're just going, don't do that again, sweetheart. If I was a judge, I'm telling you, those people would hate it, because their punishment would be the death of them.
Oh, no kidding. I'm serious. That's what I've always said that about myself too. I was like, it's really, you know, yeah. I mean, if I was a judge, seriously, I'm not talking like petty stuff like, you know, some person gets busted with doing some stupid ass thing. You know what I mean? We're talking people who murder children, people who sexually abuse, physically abuse children, just keep doing it over and over and over again. I would throw away the key. I'd lock them up and throw away the key.
Me too. And that's what I don't understand. And when these people say, you know, especially locally in our counties, they're like, oh, they got a plea deal, they got probation. And I'm like, they got 2 years of probation for sexually assaulting a child? Like, what the hell are we thinking here? And that's why it's like stronger laws. And I know the other day, Lexi had said to me, she said, why did you turn so much on the law side of it? She's like, because for the past 15 years, all I hear you do is talk about laws. And I'm like, well, when we first started, it was initial care, like trying to get people the resources they need. I said, but then we got A4H, we got the website, we got all our volunteers, we got our help center where you can call, text, or email, and someone will get right back to you. And I'm like, so we have that. So to me, I think we need stronger laws. I don't think that I need to pass out more resources, because they're available. I think that we need to make laws stronger to protect the kids, because these people just getting little slaps on the wrist and they're right back out hurting another kid. Or I don't get it. Honest to God, I don't get it. And also another thing is when someone has a child and they report them as a runaway, your child is missing. They don't take that serious if it's a runaway like they do a
Yeah,
missing
no,
child. And
no,
I think
they
that is
don't.
really, really sad
It's
because,
bullshit.
yeah, because it's still a child and that child is missing. You
Hmm.
don't know if that child left because it's fleeing abuse. You don't know if
That's
that
right.
child left because of what's going on in the home.
Hmm.
Like you're just saying, oh, this child's a runaway. The police
Yeah,
do not, and I totally support law enforcement. So please don't
yeah.
email me and say that I don't support the blue. I
No,
do.
that's right, because we do.
But
Absolutely.
what I'm saying
We're
is,
like pro law.
we,
Definitely.
I'm on the law side of it.
That's
um,
right.
But when you report a child missing, they don't see it as being as important as it is if it's a missing child. And I think that I wish people would see that. We actually did a big it was like a webinar on that a few years ago about, it's your child, and if your child's missing, please don't ever refer to them as a runaway because your child's
Yeah,
not getting the importance that they need when you say they're a runaway.
that's
And
right.
I even had Lee put it on the website. I'm like, please just report your
Mhm.
child as missing, not as a runaway, and explains
Right.
why, because they
Yep,
do not, they don't take the time to dedicate to your child like they would if your child is truly missing. And to me,
that's
a
right.
runaway child or a missing child is one and the same. They're still your child. They're still lost. They're missing.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's just insane. There's so many. That's the issue. I think that's why most people. And I'm not saying like we're special because we talk about all this stuff. We just talk about it because this is what we did for so many years. That we're used to talking about this kind of stuff. It's what we did. It's what we still do. Really, I mean, it's like what we've
Yep.
done, right? So
Yep.
it's kind of like this normal conversation for us. You know what I mean? But the thing is like I can imagine the regular people, just regular Joe Blows going through their day, thinking about this stuff. Like, would be like, there's so many problems with the justice system already. Like, there's so many problems with the lawmakers. Like we're talking like congressmen and all these people. It's all like corrupt. There's a lot of corruption. It's not all corrupt, but there is a lot of corruption.
Mhm.
There's a lot of judges being bought off. It's like so much you can buy a judge. It's like there's a lot of corruption, and a lot of this stuff. I think they're fighting the bigger. They're trying to fight the bigger fishes. I think they don't have the resources. Is what I think the problem is. I've heard lots and lots of talks about this, and it doesn't mean that okay, yeah, okay, they can say, okay, we're trying to fight against, uh, uh, like mafia run child trafficking stuff, and a lot of our money and resources goes to that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's great. That's good. What about these children who, for instance, uh, 4 people have already reported that a child's being abused, and they want CPS or whatever children's services to check up on them, and they just check it off as everything's okay. There's food in the fridge. Everything seems fine, just like
Yeah.
you were saying earlier. And the thing is like who was talking to me about this was, but she doesn't live in the United States. Was that friend of ours, Kate Mitchell from Australia?
Hmm.
She used to be a child services, a CPS protection worker in
Hmm.
Australia. And she said, "Man, I'm telling you, the resources are not there. The caseloads are too heavy."
Hmm.
She said, "You're going into these people's homes, and seriously, if it looks like okay, yeah, the child's being a little bit abused, but not horrifically, you basically have to just let it go because you don't have the resources. You know what I mean? Like you can't save them all." And I was just like, that's heartbreaking, but I think that's what's going on. I really
That's
do.
sad.
They are turning a bit of a blind eye because they know they don't have the resources. They can't even begin to, they can't even put a band-aid on the problem. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
how big the problem is. When you think about,
Oh
we know
yeah.
the statistics. We know the
Look at it.
statistics,
But
you know.
that's the thing. Look at the statistics. I
Mhm.
mean, 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 13 boys. Girls are 3 times more likely to be abused
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy. And I said the other day, we were in a group and there was 20 adults. And I said, if you went around the room, because we were all women, I'm like, you ask, 1 in 4 of us have been abused. And somehow the conversation come up and we started talking. 5 women said that they had been abused as a child. And it was like, I never expected anybody within that group to say it. It was actually really weird because they're like, me. And there was 5 of them. And I'm like, the statistics don't lie. Like,
That's 1 in 4.
you know somebody, you don't know that person's background. You don't know if they've been abused. You don't know if they're an abuser. And a lot of people don't realize, like, other parents that as a child, they're being abused. They grow up to be a parent that sometimes abuses. And then there's other parents that take the complete road and they're like, no, I'm not going to take that road. I'm going to treat my kids better and I'm going to give them the life they deserve. I'm going to give them the life I didn't have. And there are a lot of people like that. We just see so much ugly. That was kind of like when I emailed Aaron Bernstein. I had said to him, I tried to say like about our background. And I still laugh to this day because when he says I had a long email, I say, well, you have a long bill.
I know, it was like
51 pages.
And I'm sitting there going, I can do it pretty long.
But the thing is, you know, you have people out there and they're really fighting hard for kids and they want to make a difference in the lives of kids. And then you just have people, they walk around, they're like this, like, there's no problem. There's no problem. And it's like, take the blinders off and see that kids are being abused every single day and children are dying. And there has to be more that we as a society can do. I do strongly believe, although many people disagree with me, you know how like when you're in high school and they have you take home ec and art and music, I really think they need to put a life skills in there. I think they should learn about having children and not that sex ed class they have where they send the doll home, the doll cries. I mean, teach, you know, like
reality
things. Yes. Because I think if you would educate kids early enough and let them see how abuse and violence affects people in a home, it would sink in, because if you're taught something early enough, you remember it. It's kind of like tying your shoe. You're a kid, you learn how to tie your shoe. You tie your shoe all the time. If you see something being done repeatedly, 9 times out of 10, you're going to pick up that bad habit. But if you have someone teaching you right from wrong and showing you this is the way and this is how it affects people, so, you know, let's be different. I'm not saying it's going to cut abuse out altogether, but I think it would help a majority of it.
I think education, definitely. I agreed on it. I really do, because education is a huge part of what's going on here. This is what's wrong really with the system right now. I mean, I've been saying that we've actually been proponents of this for a long time. But how do you do it? We're just two advocates out here, you know. Well,
all you can do is you can say, and just like myself, you know, we have presented it. I've presented it to different school boards. I've presented to different districts. If they're not interested in it, they're not gonna do anything. Yeah. I know within my classroom, I teach my kids life skills. I teach them. I got this thing that teaches them how to fold clothes. I teach them the responsibility of cleaning up at the end of the day. Everybody has a chore to clean up. Snack time. Everybody gets their snack. They sit down. We say a blessing. So everybody has to take part and say the blessing. But then when you're done with your snack, guess what? You're going to clean up after yourself. And you're going to throw it away. You're not going to leave it sit. And if you do leave it sit, guess what? You're going to sit there with your stuff until you put it in the trash can. And I had kids that come in and they would be like, I'm not doing that. And I'd say, okay. And there's one little girl in particular that I can remember at the end of the day, if they do good and they have a great day, I give every kid something at the end of the day. It can be lollipops, candy, popsicles. Today was cupcakes. One little boy dropped a cupcake all down his sweatshirt. His mom's like, what happened? I'm like, well, he was eating his cupcake and it kind of rolled down over him. But
that's cute.
But this one little girl, she's like, I'm not cleaning up. I'm not cleaning up. I said, okay. So at the end of the day, everybody left. Everybody got a lollipop by her. And And her mom was kind of like a little bit upset. And then the next day she come and I said, okay, everybody, it's time to clean up, because I make them clean up at 4:15. And
That's
pretty
good.
soon she's like, I'm cleaning up my spot right now. I throw my trash in the garbage, and she did her thing. And when she left, I go, here you go. You know, you get a lollipop today. And the mom goes, how do you do that? And I said, you got to have it. Hey, we every day the same thing. Routine. I believe in a routine. Right on dot. We were on
Consistency. Clock. That's exactly it.
Yep.
Consistency. Yeah.
Yep. I'm like, every day it's the same thing. I know from the time we go in, we're doing circle time, we're doing prayer, we're doing snack, we're doing our crafts, special guests, homework, our lesson. And then, okay, it's cleanup time. And everybody cleans up. And there's so many different parents will say, I don't know what you do, but please teach me, because they need to do this at home.
Yeah.
So that's what I surely believe. If you would educate teenagers, like preteen kids and even teenagers, they would learn. Like I said, it's not going to cause everybody to, you know, automatically stop abusing kids, but I think it would have a dramatic effect on them if they could see how abuse affects other people. I strongly believe that. But like I said, the district, they're not interested in it. And the different schools I talked to, they weren't interested in it. And I'm like, try it. Just try it for 6 months and see how it goes. But, you know, no one's really open to change. Everybody kind of thinks they know everything and they think it's going well. But I also hear there's not a problem with bullying in schools. And let me tell you what, I can tell you there's a huge problem. I know personally. I've had to make a couple of phone calls. So I know what's going on.
That's terrible. Yeah.
It's crazy. You know, Lori, I think back when I was a kid and I went to school, it was so different compared to today. And I miss those dynamics. I think that we need to do things. Technology is great. And I'll say it like that. Technology is great. I love the phones, the laptops, the computers. I mean, you and I get to see each other all the time because of, you know,
that's great.
Zoom, things like that. And I'm grateful to that. Facebook Messenger. I'm grateful.
Technology, when it's used for good, is excellent.
Yes. Yeah. But then on the other hand, you have kids, they're not going outside and playing. They're not playing sports. They're not doing anything. The only thing these kids are finding these days are a Wi-Fi signal. Like they're running around, what's your password? What's your password?
That's it. Chasing the Wi-Fi signal.
And even like with these kids, so they'll say, okay, we're on a snow day. So a snow day now is a remote learning day. So we get on the computer and we do school over the laptops. Okay, that's great. These kids don't know a real snow day of sitting in front of the TV and you're waiting for the name of your school district to go to the bottom across the bottom of the screen. And you're like, yay, no school today, you know? These kids don't know, because they know if the day before the weather will say, we're expecting snow, they'll send the laptops home. And then that morning you get a notification, your kids to log on at this time. It's like your kids don't even know what a real snow day. I can remember me and my two brothers. I'm telling you, my sister didn't go to school yet, but we would sit in front of the TV and we'd be like, please, 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 no school, no school. We'd say it was closed and we'd be like, yeah, you know, like, yeah. And I was actually telling my mom this morning. I said, I can remember being a kid and in my head thinking, hell yeah, it's canceled.
That's funny. That is funny.
I said, these kids don't even know what a real snow day is.
No, there's a lot of stuff that's different nowadays for sure. Well, each generation, I mean, like think about each era. Yeah,
true.
You know, each decade that goes by. I mean, seriously, like our days were a lot different than the kids today. I wouldn't want to be a kid in today's world.
No.
You know, as much as like, you know, there's great things about today too. I don't want to run down this time that we're in right now. There's great things that are happening. We're not just all a bunch of boo-hooers and screw today. That's not how we are. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. But the thing is like it seems kids are always cruel. And I would say even from my parents, when my parents were going to school in like the 1930s, actually, yeah, because they would have been going to school in like 1932 or 34. That's my parents. People will be like, holy shit, how old are you? But yeah, it's like, you know, that's a damn long time ago, almost 100 years ago. And they would, there were cruel kids in them days too. And there were cruel kids in every single generation, from them all the way up to your grandkids today that are in school. And there's always going to be the bullies, and there's always going to be you know, the monsters. And it doesn't always mean that the bullies will always turn out to be abusers. It doesn't always mean, because I know for a fact, like abusers, bullies could go either way. I used to be a bit of a bully when I was young. I really didn't like violence.
I can't picture you being a bully. I can't.
Well, I was doing, it was a self-protection measure because it was a lot of guns, and when I was going to, no, it's kind of true. I had to be a little bit strong in order to survive in high school, because it was, and even junior high, because of the gang problems. There was a lot of problems with gangs in the schools, and being a non-Hispanic white person in New Mexico was definitely a little bit dangerous in certain schools. You know what I mean? And I went to a school where there was a lot of problems in that school, and so they used to tear gas. They used to have like military come in and like tear gas the school. We used to have riots. They used to have news cameras running along, chasing after people who were they were like riots where they would like try to cut people's hair off and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I had to run in a riot one time because people were chasing me, and I jumped in my friend's car, and then they tried to tip the car over.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, there's some things I don't know about you.
Yeah. Well, I didn't put that in my book, but that's a real story. That's true. But anyway, it was kind of a bad scene there, in high school. So I kind of had to be a little bit.
Well, that's not a bully. That's standing up for yourself.
No, but almost a little bit of trying to pretend to be a bit of a hard ass so that people would just leave you alone, So I wasn't really a bully. I really was against violence of any kind, and didn't go around picking on people, but I sort of held myself a certain way so that people would leave me alone. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to be picked on in school. So, wasn't necessarily a bully. I guess I kind of was with my friends. We were a little bit kind of bullies to some people, but nothing violent. Not like today. It was all just name calling, silly bullshit like that. Nothing violent. Still, it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. Kids can take that to heart. They take it home. Their parents don't understand what they're going through. They don't have anybody to talk to, and then they commit suicide.
Yeah, that's
because they're being bullied at school. And it's like, I was being abused at home, so I didn't want to take any more abuse outside my home. So I was like, okay, in order for me to not be abused out here in this world here, I'm going to have to be a little bit different, than I am at home. Because at home, I couldn't have any different attitude because I was already being abused. So if I would have went in with a different attitude at home, I'd just be abused more. You know what I mean? So I had to just toe the line at home and take what was coming. And then in school, I could switch over and be the other person. But I was also using a lot of drugs and doing stuff like that. So drinking, I was drunk quite a bit in high school. I was really pretty. But the thing is there's kids that are struggling out there, and it doesn't mean that they're all going to end up abusing or becoming abusers. No. But what we're just saying, there has to be something in place, like life skill situation. I remember in high school, we had sort of something, I think what you're talking about there, except for it didn't have anything to do with raising children, but it was about balancing your checkbook, how to write a check. Yep. We learned how to do all of that stuff.
But they don't do that today. They don't do that today. You don't know how many people come in to my job and they will say to me, now these are people that volunteer with me, and not Maureen and not Barb. These are other volunteers. I don't want people to think the wrong thing. They will say,
gotta make that clear.
Let me make it clear. This person had said to me, would you help me with my checkbook? And I said, sure. So we're looking at it and I'm like, honey, do you have 3 cell phones? And she goes, no. I said, why are you paying for 3 cell phones? I don't know. I said, but you're not deducting it out of your checkbook over here. Well, I don't really want to pay them, so I don't deduct them. I said, but here's the thing. The bank does. So you're paying for 3 cell phone bills, regardless if you write it in the little checkbook or not that you
Right.
do, you are.
They're
And she
taking it out.
she grabs her checkbook, and I have a book of Addison here. I'll use it. She says, if I don't write it in this checkbook, it doesn't count. And I said, well, I hate to tell you, but the bank's taking the money for 3 cell phones, whether you write it in your checkbook or not.
That sucks.
And I said, honey, let's figure it out. So I said, let's make a couple calls. So I made one call to the one cell phone company, and they're like, oh, yeah, she shouldn't even be paying for that phone. That's on us. We forgot to stop billing her. Okay.
Wow.
I said, she would like a refund. Well, is she there to tell us that she wants a refund? I made her get on the phone and say, I want a refund, because she didn't want to get on the phone and say she wanted a refund. She's like, it's okay. They can just keep it. And I'm like, no, that's not cool. And we're going to get your money back.
That's good that you're doing that. That's very good.
And I really tried to help her because, like, but I'll tell you, like, she could not balance a checkbook because she didn't want to pay for something. She thought if she didn't write it in her checkbook that the bank didn't take the money from her. And it's like, honey, when you're on auto pay, they take it regardless. And she's like, well, it says in my checkbook that I have this much money. And I'm like, but honey, it says on your bank statement and your app that you don't, because they're billing the shit out of you for things that you're not. She goes, you're missing my point. And I said, well, what's your point? And she goes, if I don't deduct it from my checkbook, it doesn't go away. And I'm like, but the bank's taking it every month. I'm like, whether you deduct it or not. But like, she did not totally get that at all. And then there was like different life skills. Like a lot of people, they come in, and we deal with a lot of people at my job. And a lot of people, it's like, you go through hard times. And I'm going to say this, and probably I'm going to hear about it. Just because you go through hard times doesn't mean that you can't shower, that you can't use soap, you can't be clean. You can't have clean hair. Like, seriously.
Yeah, hygiene's important.
But a lot of people's like, well, we don't have a lot of money. So, and I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but if you can't afford soap and water, hey, we'll give you some over here, or we'll give you shampoo or toothbrushes or whatever. But I don't think that by not showering or being clean or not brushing your teeth for a month is doing you any good. And I think that they need to teach life skills, that these are important things that you need to do for overall health long term.
Yeah.
And there's just so many things.
We have to teach that, because that should be already taught. Like, you should already know them.
Do you remember last week when we were talking about, on the first show, we were talking about the guy, and he touched my hair, and I just went absolutely ballistic.
Yeah, this was last week. Yeah.
Yeah. There was no reason for him to be in the position he was. Like, really, there's not. And it's like, okay, did you get like this as an adult, or weren't you taught this as a child? And like, that's not being rude to anybody, and I'm not trying to be mean, and I know it might sound that way, but I think that if we don't teach children, just like at home, if I didn't say to my children, hey, brush your teeth, hey, get a shower, they would have never done it.
Oh, no, they don't. That's right.
I mean, my daughter, she was like me. Like, her room was neat, spotless, and clean. My son, you would have thought that, like, he lived in a ground or something. He never going to clean his room. And he used to say to my daughter, because he had like, quite a few, like over 100 trophies, because he played sports a lot. And he would say to my daughter, I will give you a dime if you dust each one, a dime a piece for every one you dust. And she would say, make it a quarter and we got a deal.
She's smart. Just like her mother.
That's right. But that's right. But if you don't teach them, even at home, they're not going to learn, and then they're going to go on to be adults that don't do it. So I really believe that if you put something in place, it can help kids long term. I mean, they bring home those babies. Like, I have a couple kids in my class right now. They're taking sex education, so they have the babies, and they bring a baby, and you have to tend to it like it's a real baby. Yeah. And I'm like, they send home the babies to teach you that, but then they're not teaching you any other life skills to go with it, like how to treat that baby.
Right.
And most of the kids, they're like, because it has like a little, has something inside of it, and it tells how you treat the doll or whatever.
Right.
My kids didn't do that, so I don't know. But anyway, she's the one girl. She comes in and she's holding it and she's rocking it and like she's being this really cool mom. And then I said, well, does it shut off at a certain time? Well, then she got done with it and she come back in and I said something and she goes, I got an A. And I said, well, that was good. And we started talking about it and she's like, yeah, whatever. And I go, well, did they teach you about how to care for it? Did they teach you how to treat it? Not really. If it cried, we were supposed to pick it up and shake it like to make it stop. And I'm like, well, you're not really supposed to shake it because of shaken baby syndrome. And she's like, well, they just told us to go like this with it and it would stop crying. And I'm thinking, you're not that I'm not saying they're not teaching them correctly. I don't mean it like that. But I think if you taught them more, don't just shake it to make the doll stop crying. Teach children like this is what you do or this is how you treat them or there's consequences if they get hurt or I don't know, just how to treat your children in general. But
this is it. I mean, this world is so screwed up. It's not even funny. And like, it always has been, but there's no reason for it. And that's, I think, people, I think, a lot of the world just says, oh, well, if they say, okay, so many percentage of people abuse children and so many are survivors, some die, but there's so many survivors. And then some people would say, well, tough luck for you. Isn't that too bad?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, well, put yourself in in those people's shoes. It could have been you.
Exactly.
And then we will see what you have to say about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really give two hoots of a shit if people would say, well, that's just the way it is. Because that's a cop-out answer.
Mm-hmm.
That is a cop-out bullshit answer. That's just the way it is. Okay, we all know that. It's like, yeah, okay, you're real smart because you could say that's just the way it is. Everybody knows this shit. You know what I mean? So the issue is why is that just the way it is? It shouldn't be that way.
No.
And it's like if we're not asking the questions and we're not thinking about these things, it's never going to change. And that's just the issue. You think about the amount of work that's been done since my parents, which would be, I don't know, kind of similar, I guess. Your mom's not as old as my parents. Like,
no.
Your grandparents would have been my parents' age. And it's like, in their day and age, from them in the 30s, like when they were born late 20s, 20s sometime, 1920s, 100 years ago. 100 years ago, children really did not have rights. They had very few rights. And really, to be honest with you, especially in North America and mostly parts of Europe, places like that, Germany, wherever, people just treated kids like totally different. I mean, it was just normal to abuse your children. That's just what people did. You were supposed to punish them very harshly. It didn't mean sexually abuse them. I think that's always been a bit of a ungodly perversion. You know what I mean? But there were a lot that were sexually abused. Let's just be honest. But the thing is like, I mean, as far as like, just treating kids like kind of like servants, they don't have a voice. If they're abused, too bad. That's just the way it was. Nobody really started speaking up really until in the late 1800s. That's when it all happened. In the late 1800s, even people like, what's his name? The guy who wrote Oliver Twist, Charles Dickens. I studied a lot on that because I was like, wow, this is so not that long ago. And back in them days, I mean, man, they had no qualms about killing kids, man. It's no big deal. Just kill them, put them in the grave. Who cares? Nowadays, there's laws against that. But just think, the only reason why there's laws against that is because people like us years ago stood up and said something.
Yeah.
Not only said something, but went out and did something.
Yeah.
Charles Dickens was one of them. he was writing. He was a young author. He was a young journalist writing for a paper in I believe it was London. I'm not sure, but I think it was somewhere in England. And he had a column going, and it was a weekly column, and he would write part of the story, and then the next week he would put the next part in, and people could read it. And he was writing the book Oliver Twist, because he was watching these work boys being treated like shit and abused, and he knew that that's how all of those kids were treated. You know what I mean? And kids in general were treated horribly, right?
Oh yeah.
So he started to create this book and change people's minds about it, because most people in the society thought, hey, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. We accept this, you know what I mean? And it's like, so he was opening people's eyes to how completely wrong that is, you know what I mean? But he did it in story form. So he created that story, Oliver Twist. He's one of the first people in modern, that's kind of like modern history, really. I mean, it's industrial age, like it's not really modern history now. But the thing is it's not that old either. It's only like 140 years ago, 130, 40 years ago. And those voices were powerful, man, because those people came along and like him and after him, and they changed the laws for the kids, and they got children's rights. Children's rights when they come around 1925 or something like that.
I just read something about that the other day.
37 or something like that. I mean, it hasn't been all that long, like the children's rights were put into place. And, you know, so yeah, this is new. This is really new for people to actually give a shit and care about children and to stop and prevent child abuse. And so people just have no idea, you know. We need change. We really do. We need education. We need change. People need to care about children. They need to stop treating them like some sort of an object. Children are not objects for anyone's pleasure to do whatever they want, whether it's abuse them or sexually abuse them or whatever. Doesn't matter. They're not.
No.
They're people. They're human beings. And they actually have more rights than a human adult does, because they have the right to be brought up with care and love in a loving, caring home. That's actually a right for the child. So right now, children's rights are being just squashed because people are just running ramsack all over children's rights. And that's why we're like,
no.
Hell to the no.
That's right. Hell to the no.
we raised our voices. We said a lot, you know what I mean? And that bill's going through, and that's great.
When we do the next show, before we do the next show, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to get the House bill and I'm going to bring it up to show you.
Oh, good. Good. Oh, that'll be excellent. Right on. Yeah, that'll be good, boo. And then we can.
I'm excited. I'll tell you, one thing I liked about Aaron was he has worked on other stuff for children. He worked on Markey's Law. Yeah. And he's a big advocate for children. And I really like that.
That's awesome. I know.
So
I'm very thankful.
It was like when we found him, like he was like the perfect match because he cared so much about kids. And I know, like, the other day, I'm not on social media a lot, but if someone shows me something or says, hey, I tagged you in something, I will check it out, because you get on there and everybody, like, everything's gossip, or I have this perfect life, you know, and they're so filtered out. They don't even look like what they look like, you know, and stuff like that. And I don't know. I liked him because he was just about helping kids, and he didn't care about anything else, you know.
He's just he's a family man.
Yes.
He cares about children.
Well, matter of fact, like I said, I told you earlier, I posted something on there, and all these people, they were going back and forth arguing about it. And I'm like, you guys would rather be on there and argue back and forth with each other to see who's right when you're both wrong.
Yeah.
You're arguing saying it's the mother's fault. You're arguing saying it's the father's fault.
Yeah.
No. It's a little bit number one of both, but it's public agencies that let children down all the time. And when you have a mandated reporter, more than one, reporting and nothing's done, there's problems. There's huge problems. And I think that's why I liked him. But I'll tell you what, he doesn't care. And I've read his stuff. He don't care if you like him. He don't care if you don't. Someone said something negative to him one day, and he just like laughed about it. He's like, ha ha ha. There's different people will say things about me, and honest, I'll kind of like chuckle or laugh or whatever. And then there's other times people will say something and I'm like, look, buddy, you don't want to piss me off because you're just being an ass right now.
Yeah, that's it.
People don't understand, like, you really put in a lot of time and effort to get stuff done, and then to have somebody say something smart about it or put you down or call you names, and it's like, I'm out here doing for the best of kids. I'm fighting for the best of kids. You're sitting over there not doing a damn thing and you don't care, but yet you're going to put me down. You're going to put you down. You're going to put him down. Why? Yeah. Why? What's so important to you to put us down? Because you don't believe in it? Or, just like I had somebody tell me the other day, and I like this person. I like this person. I'll say it like that. He told me that the child abuse registry is useless. He said, there's no need for it. He said, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of time, and it's not going to help anybody. I said, okay, well, that's your opinion.
That's right.
I said, your kids play sports, right? Well, yeah. Do you trust them? Oh, I trust my kids as coaches. Did you ever check them out? No, I don't have to. Okay. Do you ever invite people into home to babysit your kid? Yeah. Okay. Did you ever check them out? No. Okay. Have you ever gotten involved in a relationship with somebody? Well, yeah, I dated a few people before I settled down. Did you check them out before you let them around your kids? No. The most they ever did was maybe steal some money or some cigarettes or things like that. Okay. You don't check them out. You don't do anything about it, but you're telling me that they stole money and cigarettes from you. So if they can steal money and cigarettes from you, what makes you think they can't put their hands on your child? Or how do you know that the trash just hasn't been passed from one baseball team to another, or one football team to another? Things happen all the time. Jerry's and Dusty, they passed the trash from State College right on over to Clinton County, and Clinton County got trash, and we had all these people sexually assaulted, young boys.
Terrible.
Sexually assaulted, and that for what purpose? Because they passed the trash. And that's what I said to him. He's like, well, all they did was steal some money and some cigarettes. What's that big deal? And I'm like, if they can steal money, they can steal cigarettes, then they can harm your child. Like, if you choose to trust people, that's you. I don't trust anybody with my kids.
No, you shouldn't.
I don't.
You can't. It's there wouldn't be, and these kids are not lying, because they literally bust these people doing these things to these children. It's like, this is not all somebody's imagination. No. These kids, I mean, there's so much abuse out there. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. And who's doing it? Someone who has access to your child.
Children.
That's why we're saying you better know who's around your child, whether it's a teacher, a coach, babysitter, somebody in your family.
Lori, look at all these teachers. Look at all these teachers in the news anymore for having sexual relationships with boys or little girls. And I know it's different than physical abuse, but I watched a video today online where a teacher ripped that hot off of a kid, and he pulled it back out of her hand. She smacked him across the face. And I'm like, lady, you smacked my kid across the face, we're going to have a real problem. That's not okay.
No,
but
it's
we
not.
also have to stop giving people plea deals and hold them accountable for the charges that they have. Because when you give them a plea deal, it's a lesser charge. And then sometimes it's not a felony. It's not considered a violent crime.
Yeah. No, it's pathetic.
When Connor was killed, it was considered a non-violent crime.
I know, that's crazy.
He was tortured and killed, and it was considered a non-violent crime. Now, let me ask you something, and this is just off the top of my head, and I asked this to Kentucky lawmakers. So when Ron Sanders was torturing and killing Connor, he didn't feel any pain? He didn't feel no pain, because you're telling me it's a non-violent crime.
Right.
Non-violent to me would be an accident happened and you didn't feel no pain. So
Yeah.
you're telling me that he was tortured and killed, but it was a non-violent crime. He didn't feel pain. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
It is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There is a problem with the law, with the system, with the laws, with the lawmakers, with the judges. There's a lot of problems. It depends on what county you're in. It depends on who the judge is. It depends on what state you're in. You know, like it depends on everything to what the sentence is going to be. Because there's a lot of those counties that it happens in that county. So it's basically a slap on the wrist. Don't do that again.
We just had a peaceful protest down at Lycoming County, and that's several counties over from us. But they had a peaceful protest because they were trying to bring attention to all these men that have been sexually assaulting children and how they're getting away with no bail or a plea deal or no ankle monitors. And they're like, how's this happening? Like, you're setting them free to go out and abuse another child. Like, what the hell are you thinking? So they were like, no, we're going to do this peaceful protest. And I actually said, I'm like, if I would have had word of it before, I would have went. But they notified me like 2 days before. And it's like, well, I can't find a replacement in 2 days. It doesn't work that way for me. So.
Yeah, that's too bad. But still, I mean, good. That's good that there's people going and speaking out against that. It's just bullshit. Like,
it is.
I mean, you know, so we're cussing a little tiny bit on here, but nothing too major.
Okay. It's okay.
I'm trying to keep it clean.
I think that they've heard worse than what you and I have said tonight.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's appropriate. Like, it just breaks my heart. So I mean, I follow a lot of these cases that are in the news that are high profile, and for whatever reason, it gets coverage. Not every child abuse murder case gets coverage.
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
That was another thing I told Aaron. If it's little Jimmy down on the corner, no one's talking about him. Anson Stover, he was tortured and killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Horrible. I mean, that was a horrible case right there.
Terrible.
Left to die in a bathtub. And I'm sorry, but that is absolutely disgusting.
Yes, it is. And he got very, very little attention. Yeah.
And you're in the news. It was in the newspaper for a week, and then they reported that his aunt was charged with his murder, and then it went on to something else. Lori, within 3 weeks to a month, everybody forgot about him and moved on. Yeah. And it's like, no, you can't forget. Or Jasmine and Nicole Snyder. It was in the news. Maybe a month. Like I said, they're in Lycoming County. It's a little bit different, but. It was in the news a couple times where the mother but it's always about the mother. And I'm like, no, give those two little girls and even Anderson the attention and the love that they deserve. That's and let them know that someone stole their life. Don't make it about, well, she this and she this. When I heard that thing on TV where she said that how much they were allowed to eat a day, a teaspoon of peas or something, and they had to take cold baths. I'm telling you right now, the things that I think what you did to that child, prison ought to do to you. Like, seriously, I do think that way because it's not right. It's not cool. It's not fair. It's disgusting. It is.
It is. I seriously, I mean, for these people who abused and killed children and murder them, and they're found guilty, 100% guilty, and the evidence is there, and they are busted. I really agree that they should have the same things done to them. I really do.
And
because then they can know exactly how those children felt, and what they went through.
People forget, just like even them cases were so close to home, and you're like, oh wow, And within a month, everybody forgot who they were. Everybody's back to their own life and doing their own thing. And it's like you're forgetting like this happened and it can happen again. But in that community, abuse doesn't happen. Abuse doesn't happen. Bullying doesn't happen. Just we live like at Walgreens. Everything's just
really
perfect.
It's sad. There was a guy up here that just sort of rang a bell with me on something. There was a guy up here, and I can't remember his name now. I'd have to look it up. But he had this in Toronto, in Ontario, Canada. He had this child abuse survivor monument, and the city actually allowed him to put it up. I think since then it's probably been taken down. This was years ago, back when I was doing my healing journey, and he had survivors from all over, anywhere, North America, around the world, send in their handprint on a piece of paper with whatever they wanted to put on it. Like you could write on it, you could just put your handprint, put your name, whatever. You could just be anonymous, didn't matter. And inside of this monument thing that they had created, um, they put all these people's handprints in there as a memorial for
Oh,
all the
wow.
survivors. So it's for all the survivors, not for the children who were killed. Although I bet you there were people who were putting their own brothers and sisters' memories in there. I wouldn't doubt it, or siblings or somebody in the family. But I was thinking, really honestly, if we did a victim, not a survivor, but if we did a victim, because I put my handprint in that thing, because I was like, this is really important.
Cool.
Yeah, and I put it on my website so people could see a picture of what I drew and put on there. But I think that's so important, and it's like, as a survivor, it's really important to me. But because I made it, but there's so many that don't, and it's like you think about all these babies and children around the world. If we did a monument for them, I think it would be so large that it would overtake the world. I really do. I think it would go around the world. Like
3.6 million children are abused each year in the United States. For every case reported, one goes unreported.
Yeah.
So
like if we
figure
didn't
that
do it
out.
If we went long and we went around the world with some sort of something, imagine it would probably go around the whole entire world. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many, and yeah, it just goes on and on. Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, 26 million, just in the United States.
Yeah, there's 3.6 million cases of child abuse reported each year. For every case reported, one goes unreported. So
right. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's insane.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, are we ready to end it here, and we'll come back for after our break?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back within a half an hour, 30 minutes for part 2. So stick around if you're watching this. If you're watching this live, we'll be right back. It'll be a different link. And I have posted the links out there, so you'll see them on Women Like Me podcast on X and on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. The links are in the description here, so you can always go through the links here on this description page if you're watching this, and you can grab the link for part 2. We'll be right back in a half an hour. See you in a bit.
See you soon.
See you in a bit. Have a good break.